Hi, welcome back to my channel. This is my latest pattern along with the Scholar Pack. This is the Zip Buddy, 3 sizes in 1 pattern. And this is a great skill builder pattern, especially if you are new to binding, because as you can see, it's all straight edges. And you only need minimum hardware, zipper pull, and depending on the size that you are using, you may need a D-ring and a silver hook. Come in 3 sizes. This is the Petite, which is great for stationery, sewing, or art supplies. Class size for all your document, A4 size, letter size, no issue. And this is where my girl like to put all her homework, papers, her exercise book inside so that she keep herself organized in her backpack. And this is the studio size. If you can see, there is a difference because this was a prototype I did, and it's a little bit too short for her A3 size folder for her art class. So here we go. This is the actual size. Reason being why I separate out is not because really about the sizes. It's more on the pattern construction. In this pattern, there are 2 ways for final assembly, depending on the fabric that you choose. If you are using any vinyl or jelly vinyl, any stiffer fabric, I highly recommend you to use this directional print, meaning your exterior will come with 2, 1 back panel and 1 front panel. We call this piece AA. And of course, the front zipper pocket will be piece B. Reason being is there is no lining, as you can see. So the final assembly for the whole panel, whole piece, non-directional print, will be more challenging at the last step. So getting from the feedback from the tester, we decided to come up with two methods, basically non-directional print, directional print. The outcome is the same. And if you are new to sewing vinyl, or basically you want to learn about binding, I highly recommend you to go through the directional print, which is piece AA. And the rest of the pattern pieces remain the same. As you can see, I have different fabric bases here. This is the clear vinyl, jelly vinyl. These are great if you want to hold maybe your templates, acrylic templates, because they are sturdy, but it can be heavy. And there is one, this is something that I bought a while ago already. We can find this on the commercial folder. This is the mesh vinyl, but it's very lightweight, very easy to sew, very forgiving. I mixed this because I want it to be waterproof. And this is the stiff mesh. As you can see, stiff mesh here. This is also a stiff mesh, except that it's checkered. The price difference is 5 times. So I don't think I'll be bringing any design on this because cost-wise it's really high. But I will definitely be bringing more colors of this stiff mesh here. At the moment, I have black and white. As you can see, there's nothing, but it's so structured, and yeah, that's what my daughter is also using. This is a jelly vinyl for both. What else do I need to cover? And I also need to do a disclaimer because I'm using most of the PVC. I do have TPU from my previous print. Not all clear vinyl are printed equally. You do test because this TPU, I store it for more than a year and it doesn't crack. It doesn't disintegrate. Some of the TPU that I use, I already have to throw them into the bin because they disintegrate. I think it's probably my weather, but it could be the fabric. So far, I use PVC. There is no issue. The color doesn't fade also, but it is stiffer, as you can see. And you definitely will need a hair dryer to soften the fabric before you buff. Do yourself a favor to give yourself your arm. So make sure stand by a hair dryer if you're using PVC or jelly vinyl for all your mix. Give it a good blow first. I'll put this aside and let's go through the pattern pieces that you need. Before we go into the pattern pieces, let's go through the printing your pattern piece. As you can see, there are diamonds over here because this overlapped into more than 2 pieces of A4 paper or US letter. The pattern piece, in fact, all my pattern piece can be printed on US letter and A4 letter without doing anything. Meaning you need not resize anything. You just need to make sure that you print from Adobe Reader and set it on orientation for automatic, and it should be printed correctly. However, it is always good to check that your 1-inch test box is correct. Thereafter, once you piece together, the dimension is correct as per the measurement cut list. We do have instances whereby members has printed out everything correctly, but when they piece it together, it is not. Then we realize that it could be deviation from mobile printing, which is iPad or mobile phone. So we strongly encourage you to print it from a computer. Okay, you just need to match up your diamond piece. As you can see, the class size must be together. Likewise for your petite piece and your studio. Something that I need to highlight is, which I also consult my tester team, because since it's a rectangular pieces, we decided to combine into one. If you can see, there is a dash lines and a scissors. For this piece A, this is a big block, which is the whole piece. There is a non-directional print, because I realized that there's a light reflection. I laminate all my pattern piece. Main panel, there is a non-directional print. There is a piece A. So you actually cut on the solid line. And for piece AA, which is the front and back panel, this is directional print. You will cut on this purple line. I printed black and white, but when on the pattern piece, you will see it is colored purple. Okay, so you actually cut from the dash line, from here to here. And piece B, zipper pocket, is blue dash line, which is here to here. So this is how you will need to do for your pattern piece. Next, let's look at the pattern pieces that you will need to cut. Well, this is for non-directional print, which is the main panel. Piece A. As you can see, I'm using a stiff mesh, white color. It's the same as this, but this is black. You need piece B, that is a zipper pocket. I'm using a PVC clear vinyl, printed vinyl for this. This pattern doesn't have a clear directional print. Okay, you can be sitting on this landscape type or vertical portrait. Okay, because end of the day we will carry this, but we will zip from here. So it really depends on your preference. And piece C, that is a zipper tab. For piece D, depending on the size that you are using, for class size and studio, you will need a grab handle. And for petite, you will need to have this wristlet, which is longer than the grab handle, as well as a swivel hook. D-ring tab is piece E and is only for petite and also studio. For studio, you will need 2 D-ring. And you will need 2 zipper. One is longer. I cut it longer. You can be shorter. In the pattern instruction, it is given exact, because I was given feedback that they don't want to waste any excess zipper. So you can always cut longer than it is. And it was mentioned in the pattern instruction also. So you will need ZA and ZB zipper, as well as 2 pulls. Last but not least, because this is a bound bag, we definitely need a bias tape. I'm using this, my supply, Sewfisticated supplies. This is a 7/8 inch of bias tape. Or you can also use over elastic. So we are done for this for non-directional print. And let's go through the directional print. For directional print, you will need to cut 2 pieces of piece AA. For this, I'm using this mesh vinyl, and this stiff mesh. And for the rest of the pieces remain the same as the non-directional print. So it's only piece A and AA different. And of course, depending on the size that you make, some sizes like petite, you will need to have a wristlet. And For class and studio, we are using the grab handle, which is shorter. And for D-ring tab, is only applicable for petite and studio. So we will still need one piece of piece B. I'm using this clear printed vinyl. Piece D, there is the grab handle. C is the zipper tab. 2 zipper pull and 2 zipper tape. Last but not least is the bias tape. In this pattern, I will show you how do you do batch sewing with bias tape without using DST. And because since it's a straight edge, there is really no need for you to do a double-sided tape or even clip. So sew along with me and I will show you what is the best practice in terms of binding. Let's go through the notion that you will need. You will need clips. I like to stand by a scraper just to make the crease easier. Thumb jumper for uneven layers. Hemostat, my favorite tool. And a Teflon footer, especially if you are sewing any clear vinyl. This will help to prevent sticking to the fabric. Pair of scissors, seam ripper, lighter, and this is a fabric marker. Turning tool, or I use a chopstick, painter's tape, double-sided tape. Though the pattern is written with the help of DST, but for this demonstration, I'm not going to use DST mainly to show you what you can do, especially come to binding, because not every country has the same quality of DST. Singapore, I can't find a good one. This is imported from the America. Okay, so I will use very minimum DST just to demonstrate how you can do it. And trust me, it's much easier. The binding is a straight sew, so it's a perfect pattern for you to practice your binding. And we all know that practice makes perfect. Without further ado, let's get started. And before we start sewing, it's always good to test with your vinyl. And best with the same vinyl. Mine is about the same quality, so I'm using this to double check on my tension to make sure that it is correct, and your stitch length to be about 4. Okay, you don't want it to be too, not the standard stitch length, because otherwise it will be too perforated and it tends to stick on it on the right side up. Okay, because printed is all right, so as you can see. But if you need to, because there are a few instances that we will need to put the right side down, so you may want to stand by a tissue, or if you have an embroidery machine, you can use the tearaway stabilizer. So right now we're just doing a test first. To make sure that you are happy with the stitches. So far it's okay. And I do give some tips in the pattern instruction. You can take a look to adjust accordingly. Okay, let's get started. Okay, though I'm doing the class size now, which don't need the D-ring tab, I'm still going ahead to show you the D-ring tab and the wristlet, because D-ring tab is needed for petite and studio. For wristlet is for petite. So for now, take out your D-ring tab, that is your piece E, and we fold it wrong side together to mark the center line, and we are going to fold the long edges to meet the center line. Like this, and we are going to top stitch around the perimeter with a 1/8 inch. For the studio, you will notice that it is longer. This is the petite size that I'm sewing. Okay, once you've done that, we will slide in the D-ring. Then for studio, you will cut into half, and same thing, you will slide the D-ring in. For studio, the D-ring is bigger, that is a 3/4 inch, but this is a 1/2 inch. And we will baste it. And we'll leave this aside for now. Next, we are going to do the grab handle, which is for class and studio size. First, I need to determine, okay, this is the wrong side. Wrong side, as you can see, the water doesn't roll and it will leave a watermark. Whereas for the right side, it's actually rolling. You see the droplet? Then this is a waterproof. This is from my shop, Sophisticated Twill. It's a waterproof canvas. Okay, same thing as a D-ring. We are going to fold to make the center crease so that it's easier for us to mark. And I like to have a standby a scraper so that I can flatten the whole thing easily, because I don't need to go to the ironing board to iron it. Okay, so I will just make sure it's flattened like this. We'll repeat on the other side. Okay, and we are going to fold again to hide the raw edges. Okay, we clip it and we're going to top stitch the perimeter with a 1/8 inch. You can top stitch a perimeter or just the two long edges. Your grab handle is now done for class size and studio. This is also piece D, but this is for petite size, and you know this is actually longer because this is for the wristlet. Identify which one is the wrong side. This is the wrong side, so I'm going to again fold to make the center line. Fold the two long edges together, wrong side together. Again, we are going to fold together to hide the raw edges, but we do not top stitch for this now. Okay, we will need to slide in our silver hook. First, always make sure your hook works, because there are cases that, well, I did put in and end up it doesn't work. Okay, it doesn't matter this side or this side, unless you have a certain directional print that you want to follow. Then over here, we'll open up the two short edges and put it right side together. Okay, you'll match the corners, make sure the seams are aligned. And we are going to sew the short edges right side together, as you can see, with a 1/4 inch. Before that, make sure your silver hook, check again that is in. Make sure you back stitch. I think my scissors is not sharp already. I keep dropping these scissors. Okay, go ahead and snip off the corners so that it reduces the bulk. Okay, once you're done, we can open up, flatten the seam. Okay, and we are going to fold it wrong side together, as you can see here. So this is become a loop, an enclosed loop. And we are going to top stitch with a 1/8 inch. But this is slightly different because some of you might find, why is my strap wobbly? It's not straight. Because depending on your fabric use, if your fabric tend to stretch, okay, it is important for you to actually top stitch in the same direction, which I'm going to show it to you, instead of how we sew our grab handle earlier. this one doesn't stretch, as you can see. Even I sew in a different direction, one here and follow one here. It doesn't, because this is, yeah, that's good thing about this twill. It doesn't stretch at all. Okay, so it remain consistent straight. Phew, that's a big explanation. Okay, so I didn't really do a good job here, as you can see, but I think it's fine. I'm able to hide it, I think. So I'm going to sew with a 1/8 inch. I will not be back stitching here, because later I will come down and sew a few stitches to make sure that I cover it. So I'm going to start just above the seam here. Okay, so later when I come down, I can cover my starting my beginning stitches. So again, 1/8 inch. I'm going to trim off my thread. If you are really fussy about this, you can always take the thread out and tie a knot, but in either way it's going to be visible, so I'm not going to really have a concern. Okay, so I'm going to come over here and back stitch. As mentioned, these stitches will not be pretty, so if you are concerned, then you can actually put a knot over. So without cutting the thread, I'm going to move it, shift it to this side, again keeping a 1/8 inch. Start from above the seam line and go and top stitch in the same direction. Okay, I got nothing to trim off, but I will have to make sure I cover it. Okay, so once you're happy with this, then we can turn it around. We choose either side. I think my this side is prettier. Okay, if you don't have a directional print, it doesn't matter which side. And move your silver hook to the seam, to the joint seam, and I like to flatten as much as I can. It can be a little bit bulky depending on your fabric that you use. You can either do a rivet over here to prevent the silver hook from moving, or you top stitch. I'm just going to top stitch it. Not top stitch, sorry, sew a stitch so that it doesn't, the silver hook is fixed. And your wristlet is now done. We'll put this aside first. On step 7, there is a preparation work for you to do, mainly is the bias tape. You can use clips of DST, which is a double-sided tape, meaning you actually put the double-sided tape on the top, on the front, front and the back, so that you can cover your bias tape. But as mentioned in the introduction, this is a really good skill builder if you are new to binding. Try it because it's only a one straight edges, and I will show you the tips on how to solder bias tape or fold over elastic without much preparation in terms of double-sided tape and so. Okay, so there are two types. This is the non-directional, okay, which you need to solder two short edges. I'll put this aside first. So right now we are focusing on the non-directional print, piece A. We are going to do the cover the short edges. As you can see, mine there is no print at all, but in case yours has, so I'm just putting this for reference. You can use, I'm using a 7/8 inch. You can use a 3/4 inch, or you can use a 1 inch. But 1 inch is a little bit too thick for this print, because we don't really have a lot of layers until the last final assembly. So for me, for my this bias state, as you can see, there is no middle crease. Doesn't matter. I can always do it on myself first. Okay. Then what I like to do is I like to tack stitch a few first, a few stitches, and you sew with a 1/4 inch. We just make sure that it align well. Okay. So from the needle to the end of your sewing machine usually is about slightly over 3 inch. Focus on this area only. It will make things easier. So what I like to do is I align these short edges. Remember, piece A main panel is short edges, and we just cover. Focus 3 inch. Remember to back stitch. Okay. And we just do it fold. Okay. Use your fingertip to flatten it. And if you have a label tag, which I'm going to take it out, you can put on either side. You can put on piece B or piece A. It doesn't matter. I think I'm going to put on piece B later. But if you want to put on the main panel, okay, or piece AA, you can put like, slightly over 1 inch at least, and you just sew it over. That is for your label tag. So I'm just going to put it aside for now. Slide it off. Okay, back stitch. But do not cut it off first, because remember, we still have piece B. If I'm using the non-directional print, again, I'm just flatten it. I'll take my piece B. For piece B, you need to do the 2 long edges. Only for piece B, irregardless you are using the directional print or non-directional print. Okay, same thing, same concept, or just flatten it. And I like to use my index finger to just press here so that it doesn't shift, if I remember. Okay, as mentioned, I'm going to put it here. There's no hard and fast rule where you need to put. Just make sure if this is going, as in pointing on the landscape, make sure it's on the top and not at the bottom. Okay, back stitch. Again, I'm not going to cut it away. I'm going to remove this piece A and continue from here. I love this stiff mesh. If you notice, many of my pattern, I actually so-called this zip buddy. I'm using this. Is affordable. The price is really reasonable for this non-checkered. The checkered one is very expensive, but this stiff mesh is affordable and it's lightweight, easy to sew. Yeah, and they have many colors. I haven't taken a look yet. I actually bought this, I think 1 year. 1 year ago, yeah. More than 1 year probably. Just didn't have any inspiration to do anything yet until now, yeah. Until the scholar pack, so why not? Okay, so we are going to do this. And the last one will be the bottom of the piece B. And it will be done with the preparation work for non-directional print. Okay, your hand, press it down and go. And we are done with the non-directional print preparation work. For the directional print, for piece B, zipper pocket, you still need to put the bias tape on the two long edges. However, for piece AA, you will need to bear in mind on your print direction if you do have. You basically on the opposite mirrors image. This is the front panel, so either it's an upright or towards the right side. And for the back panel, either is upright or towards the left. Basically, when we put the zipper later, it will be looking like this. So it is important for you to identify where is your print direction and which one is a front and back panel if there is a difference. Okay, next we are going to do the front pocket assembly. I usually encourage you to do a zipper installation before we sew, but since I'm going to show you some tips and tricks, I'm not going to put this in yet. Okay, I'm going to change to my zipper foot. Sorry, I think my cough. Okay, I'm not going to use double-sided tape also. However, if you decided to use, you can always put it on the only the bottom zipper, bottom long edge. Okay, put the double-sided tape and you line it up. Make sure it is from the edge of the binding to the middle of the zipper tip is about 1/4 inch. Only for the bottom long edge if you decided to use the double-sided tape. But for this, I'm not going to do it and show you the trick on how I do it. Okay, we align up. Remember, even the piece is long, it's always focusing only on here, which is slightly over 3 inch. Okay, and we make sure that it's 1/8 inch. And from this side, let me get my, from the edge of the bias tape to the middle of the tip is about 1/4 inch. And remember to back stitch. Okay. Okay, so here again, I press it down to make sure that I lock it. Okay, and go. Likewise here. Okay. As mentioned, the zipper length is provided exactly the same as what is zipper B. If you want to do what I'm doing now, always make sure you give some allowance. This is how it would be. We still do not put it in yet, later part, after we attach this to the main panel. Right now we are on step number 6. I already did one for this, which is the directional print. The measurement from the edge, long edge, to the zipper is the same for the 3 sizes. So I'm going to demonstrate how to do this. Okay. This is a non-directional, and I use the Pinterest tape over. Basically, I measure from the long edge down to the measurement, and I put the Pinterest tape. Because for clear vinyl, it's very hard for you to use a marker. Even for fabric pen, it is not visible. So Pinterest tape is the best. Okay, we turn it this way. Basically, we are going to turn your zipper pocket wrong side up so that your zipper tape is lined up against the Pinterest tape. So from here, we are going to top stitch 2 rows of 1/8 inch apart. Make sure your short edge of the zipper pocket is aligned with the piece A or double A edges here without the bias tape. and remember to backstitch. Okay. So basically, I just line this up. I hope you can see. I line up the zipper tape against the edge of the painter stick. So from here, again, focus only on this side, 3 inches, press and go. Likewise, after I done, I come here, press and go. I can't remember. I think I need to top up my bobbin thread. I hope I have enough. Okay, so we line up, go. Make sure your front there's nothing your front is clear. Let me check first for bobbin thread. Yeah, I think I still have a little bit. Okay. One full bobbin is definitely enough for one piece, but because I was sewing a few at the same time. Okay, we stop over here, and I like to continue from here to the other side. I mean, you can do on either way, depend on which one that you're comfortable with. But since we already stopped here, so I'll continue from here. Again, 1/8 inch away from either the zipper or the previous previous stitches. Okay, I'm going to take out this, and if you're doing batch sewing, keep this and reuse on the next piece. Okay, let's check this. I can take this one out. Make sure it's aligned. If it's not, then you can take it out and realign. Mine is a little bit off, to be honest. Mine is more out. So I'm going to just take this one out because I'm going to insert my zipper pull. So I will take this opportunity to adjust. Okay, when I started sewing, I had problems inserting the pull. One thing I learned is to cut a notch at the zipper tip. It will help to slide the whole thing, the zipper pull in better. That's for me. Okay, so you can actually give a try. For now, I'm going to make sure that these two sides are aligned. Okay. Okay, I'm not sure whether it looks better. Just now it was off at the top here. So I'm going to redo it so that the zipper tape is shut. Otherwise, it will be harder for me to sew basic later. Yeah. Okay. So now I'm going to put everything together. Flatten your zipper tape. This is important. Otherwise, when you do the final assembly, you'll realize over here it will be bulky. See, right now it's flat, but it's still there is a layer. Imagine this zipper tape is raised. It's going to be very challenging. So make sure your zipper tape is flat. And I always like to top stitch at the bottom first before pasting the two sides. Okay, I'll be right back. I'm going to top up my zipper, my bobbin thread. I think still alright. Okay, so now I'm going to sew with a 1/8 inch across. And continue on this side. That's why I meant assuming the zipper is open here, is harder for you to baste everything together. Okay, this side as well. Then next you will trim off. Make sure when you cut the time, you trim off properly. So this will be the non-directional print. And this is the directional print. Okay, so you will see this is the front panel. And the back panel is this. So basically you have these two pieces. And this is only one piece. We are going to do the grab handle. Okay, take your grab handle. I already made the marking. Make sure the grab handle is going to place at the zipper close. Okay, so this is towards the zipper close. And I already marked the marking, and you must make sure that these two ends will be inside the marking. And this can be found on page number 9. Okay, so I'm going to just baste it first. Just need to make sure I find the right marking, because for clear vinyl sometimes, with a fabric pen, it's hard to see. If you're doing studio size, make sure you look at the studio size. There's only class and studio size for grab handle. And for grab handle, and for studio size, you will need to put 2 D-ring away from the grab handle. It's also in the pattern instruction step number 8. And for petite size, we will just put above the ZB zipper. Okay, so before we put it aside, let me show you. This is a non-directional print. Zipper pocket already installed. Grab handle. This is a directional print. And this is a directional print. As you can see, this is the front panel with the zipper pocket, grab handle. And this is the back panel. We put this aside first while we do the remaining zipper and the zipper tag. Okay, this is ZA zipper, and it is important to get the right length as stated on step number 10. Okay, I measure in a way that you need not trim off anything. But again, always double check to make sure before we baste it. Let me show you. We'll insert the zipper pull. If you do have difficulty inserting the zipper pull, always cut it longer. Cut the notch at the side, okay, and slide it in. For me, personally, it helped me during the early days. Even now, I still use it. Okay, so once we match it, we just slide it down. And this is a zipper close, zipper opening on the flat side here. And we are going to put our zipper tape right side together. Okay, and make sure it is towards the zipper opening. And we are going to, sorry, my side here is a little bit noisy. I just want to make sure that we pass first. And we're going to sew with a 3/8 inch. My sewing is a little bit off. I should have used maybe hum jumper, but it's alright as long as I can cover it. So from here, we are going to fold about a 1/4 inch and cover towards the stitch line. And we're going to top stitch with a 1/4 inch. If you are top stitching from here, then that will be a 1/8, but I always like to top stitch from the zipper tab. Okay, you can trim off the excess. And from here, we are going to split the zipper tape and make a 90 degrees. It should meet nicely here. You use a clip to secure. Before we baste it, just double confirm from the teeth towards the zipper end. It measured as what it is on step number 10. It applies the same for all the 3 sizes. I think mine is a little bit too long, so I'm going to do it again. Wait, I just double check. Yeah, there are days that you cut perfectly. There are days that every single steps went haywire. When I was recording this with my new camera, the test went well, but when it comes to actual recording, it was blurred. I have to redo the whole thing. But I couldn't do it because I was rushing the launch details. So finally today is able to settle down. Okay. Slightly better, but yeah, I could be shorter. But it's alright. I think I can get away with this. Just let me double check. Because here need to be a 5/8. Okay, I got room, so it's alright. And we'll repeat the same thing on the other side. Just make sure that here is equal. Okay. You will want to really base it properly because this is visible. It's not lined. There's no pattern. There's no lining at all. So from here, I'm going to cut off the excess. Make sure you cut properly. You do not want to cut the front zipper tape. And we are going to just cinch the ends and make sure you melt the ends. I think I can do better than this. Where's my the other light? Okay, don't be like me. That the burn mark is obvious. Okay. Now we are done with this. We are ready for your final assembly. We are on step 11. If we are doing the non-directional print for the final assembly, you can skip to the next step. You only have 2 pieces here, which is ZA zipper and the main panel. So make sure that you will start to attach your ZA zipper on the side where you don't have the zipper pocket. This is important. Otherwise, your last stage of assembling the zipper is going to be challenging. So we mark a 5/8. I'm just going to ball mark it. Okay. And make sure that your direction zipper close is the same. My zipper is closing is over here. So likewise, this ZA zipper should be the same as ZB. Make sure your zipper close is the same as your ZB zipper. Mine is towards here, which is a grab handle. So make sure it's the same. One reference is you need to see the zipper tab. So we need to have a 5/8 from here. So I will just base on visual to mark. It's a 5/8. Okay, you can either use a double-sided tape to line up, but as mentioned for this demonstration, I'm not going to do double-sided tape. Okay, it's not hard to line up. You just need some practice. Key point is to focus on this area. Once I tag the bias tape, I'm going to sew, and I already make a mark of 5/8 here. So I'll line up my zipper to the 5/8 mark. Okay, and I'm just going to sew it. Focus only here, 3-inch. Okay. Here, finger press, go. Same thing here, finger press, go. Likewise, now I'm going to unzip here. Easy, right? Honestly, it's really not hard. It's just a matter of focusing on the small area, align, and go. So we are done on this side, and this will be the final side. Before we do so, just make sure you mark the place. You align the long edges together first, right side together, and because here we need to determine where to start. Okay, so from here, I'm going to mark, which should be about 5/8 inch also. Okay, once we mark, we unzip, still the fabric right side together, meaning here is facing wrong side up, and we are going to turn the fabric here. Make sure you don't turn the other side because it will be twisted. You should be turning towards the fabric, okay, which is like this. And we are going to repeat the same thing. Over here, I'm going to backstitch first, and I'm going to slide it in. I don't encourage you using double-sided tape because this step is, if you can see, it's twisted at the bottom here. So imagine you got double-sided tape, you got to focus on sewing right, and then you got to focus on realigning because your double-sided tape is probably out of place. Okay, again, same thing, focus and sew. This part is the tricky part. That's why I say if you are using a thicker fabric, basically all vinyl, be it jelly vinyl or clear vinyl, or if you are new to sewing in general, go for the next step, which is a directional print. Okay, then I will have to lift this up, manipulate a little bit so that the zipper will face upright, because naturally you will face down. Okay, again, use your finger. For me, it's the middle finger. Then I will go. Still focusing on this area. Okay, this is the part whereby it's more tricky, especially if you've got thicker fabric. For this mesh is perfect. Okay, then we will stitch by stitch. I hope you can see from the camera. Okay, so from here I also go and there you go. You probably will ask, then Jessie, why don't we just go for the non-directional print at sewing method? Reason why is I personally like this because of the finishing. Later I will show it to you. Is because the finishing, there is no extra. For the dimensional, there will be 3 sides binding. Okay, the side here will tend to have a little bit of curve, which is a very natural fabric reaction. Whereas for this, okay, you will notice it's still 90 degree. Okay, now we are done with this. You can take it out, unzip it, and just to double check again. See whether are you satisfied. Make sure you got a grab handle. For Petite is a D-ring. For Studio, grab handle and 2 D-ring. Okay, direction is the same, zipper close. And now we can do the final 2 steps. Of course, you can bind from outside, but I like to bind from inside because they give some room to put things. If you bind from outside, it's a little bit too, it doesn't have space for maneuvering to put any more things. Binding do give a little bit of space. I think I really did a very bad job in cutting. Okay. Either that or I didn't really mark well because as you can see, my hair was off. Okay, no issue. I will just trim it down a little bit. So once you clip it, okay, we are going to sew the 2 short side with a 1/8 inch before we bind the whole thing up. And I like to start at the top so that, you know, over here, you would try to start be at the same level. I was a little bit off for this one. Depending on the fabric that you use, you might need to use the hum jumper over the zipper. Then we'll do this side. I didn't cut my fabric very well, so I'm just going to sew it down based on the space that I have. Okay, again, line up the binding. Okay, one thing about this fabric is beautiful to sew with, easy for storage, very cost effective. The only thing is cutting can be very headache because it's slippery. Okay, my this side is I probably need to trim off here to make sure. Okay, now we are going to trim off all the edges. If you have not, make sure you trim it off. You can use a lighter to cinch the ends, which I'm going to. Take out your bias stick. If you're using a fold over elastic, melt your edge first so that you don't need to fold because it will be very thick. But if you're using a bias stick like mine that is thin yet strong, you make sure that you fold the 3/8 inch so that you can hide the raw edges because mine does fray. And we are going to sew with the 1/4 inch. Make sure you cover the both side. Okay, like just now earlier, I'm just going to sew Just make sure 3/8 inch at the top and at the end. If yours you are using a bias so-called fold over elastic, you can don't fold the 3/8 inch. Just make sure that it doesn't fray. If yours fray, then you have to do the same as what I'm doing now. Okay. If you want, you can use the hum jumper to go through it. Okay, and how do you do it? Because this hum jumper, they have a thickness, so I'm going to use the slim part to put at the back and go through it, so it doesn't have skip stitches. We can do the same to the front again, like this. No, no, this is very slim, so I'm not going to do it. Okay, at the end also, cut an extra at least 3/8. We are going to fold it. Okay. Okay, as you can see, the front and the back. Perfect. So we will continue on the other side and we will be done. Oh, over the top. I always like to start from the top, just to make sure it's aligned as much as we could. Okay. Because the bottom is not as obvious, so I don't really care. It's more on the top. Okay, cut. And we are done. It is really fast. My daughter's birthday is today actually. Yesterday we had some playground party with her classmate, so I managed to do up 4 in like 1.5 hours. But it's batch sewing, so that's why it's very, very fast. Okay, and we are going to turn it around. If you're using jelly vinyl, clear vinyl, please spare your hand. Go and use a hair dryer to soften the fabric first, because it can be really, really stiff if you use the both all vinyl base. Mine is still not so bad because of the stiff vinyl stiff mesh. So from here we're going to flatten out. Okay, this is something that what I like for one piece. But if you're talking about if you're using a directional print, it's very hard to achieve the kind, even though we trim at the corners. Okay, in the later part, you were able to see it in the next example. Did I do something wrong here? Wait, let me see why I cannot open up here. I don't think I accidentally sew into one, right? No, I didn't. Yeah, I just need to flatten out. Let me see. Okay, flatten out the zipper tab. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Just need to flatten out there. Okay, this is what I mean by if you use a bias stick inside, they naturally create a depth for you. Okay, but if you put outside, then it's flat inside. Then you can't really have room for any allowance. Okay, that looks better now. And we are done with the non-directional print. This is a class size. So if you are going to sew the directional print, please stay with me and go to the next step. For the directional print, you will need 3 pieces, which is the front and back panel and the ZA zipper. But this I'm going to demonstrate with the double-sided tape in case for people that who need it. Okay. Otherwise, the concept of sewing is the same as what we did earlier. This you can use double-sided tape, but for the directional print, I strongly do not suggest, because on the last step, as you can see, we were maneuvering the zipper tape to match the zipper tape and the zipper tab on the last step. So with a double-sided tape, sometimes it can be a bit tricky. Okay, so make sure if you have a directional print, your bias tape is on the left side. Directional print either upright or pointing towards the left, because end of the day you will be seeing this. Okay, so you want a directional print to either upright or facing inwards towards the zipper. We'll put this aside first. Let's concentrate on the front panel and the zipper tape. So we will mark a 5/8 inch. I'm just going to ball mark it here and remove the DST cover and line it up to the end of the zipper tab, which is about 1/4 inch. Okay, as you can see here. Sometimes you may need to adjust. I think I'm a little bit off at the top. I believe my ZA zippers is slightly longer than needed. I'm just going to leave it as what it is. Might be a bit tight, but still doable. Okay. And I'm going to top stitch with a 1/8 inch seam allowance. Okay, make sure you're happy. Zipper pull close the same area. I think my here is a little bit loose. I'm going to use a lighter to just to seal the ends. And we will take the back panel. Same thing, we are going to line up against the zipper on top of each other. As in on top of the zipper, ZA zipper. Remember, you don't need to have a double-sided tape to do it, okay? You can just do the same method that what I did earlier. Line it up and we sew. Okay, and we're going to sew. Top stitch with a 1/8 inch. There you go. So once you're happy with it, we are going to, okay, before we do that, make sure grab handle D-ring for Petite and Studio. Grab handle is for class size and studio size. So we're going to clip together. Likewise with the stiff mesh. This is great to sew. It's thin, strong, but tough to cut accurately. So yeah. Okay, we are going to sew with a 1/8 inch, only the bottom edge, or rather the long edge for here. I think my needle is a little bit sticky because from the double-sided tape. Okay, hang on. I'm going to do that instead, because the mesh vinyl is still a little bit slippery. Okay, and for this time, we are going to take the bias tape. You do not need to cover the 3/8 inch because later we will be covering the end. Okay, so we need not do that. And we will cover it first. Okay, wait, hang on. This one is easier to always stack stitch a few stitches first before I sew. And soon you will be really a master. Just cover, press, focus on this 3" and sew. Okay. And for this part, we are going to trim off not more than 1/4 inch so that when we turn it right side out, the corners is prettier, is less bulky. Once we're done, we trim off the corner. All should line up very nicely. And we are going to sew with a 1/8 inch. Okay, likewise for here. Same thing. Mine still a little bit. And final 2 steps. That will be the covering the bias tape. So we repeat the same, except for this time round we need to cover a 3/8 inch at the beginning and the end. However, if you're using a fold over elastic, which is thicker, and you know by using a lighter to cinch the end, you can have the edges doesn't fray, that is fine. Then you do not need to fold out 3/8 inch because otherwise it will be too thick. But my fray is thin, but it's very strong. Okay. Again, that's the reason why I don't like to use a clip, because I like to, from here, I cover, make sure, and I push it in. So. Okay, here, same thing. And we are almost done. Left one side. Okay, see how neatly it is. And you would repeat the same for this. Let me. And we are done. Again, if you're using all vinyl, clear vinyl or jelly vinyl, please use a hair dryer to soften the whole thing. You see, it's thick. I said stiff, not thick. I will be checking whether is there a darker color for this other color than the mesh vinyl. But I know white is very common. Okay, you have to poke out the the side here. And we are done. As mentioned, here will not be as pretty. This is not too bad because my lining, my material is pretty thin. But maybe on your all vinyl will be thicker. You will probably see more curve at the side, which happened to some of my earlier makes. But I already give it away for the birthday present. I couldn't show you, but it will be something like this. This versus this. So that is also one of the difference. Okay, so this is the class size. And for petite, you will just need to hook the silver hook to the D-ring and you're done. And for studio, that is a 2 D-ring for you to hook to the strap, adjustable strap if you are making one, because it's long. So for some people, they may want to use it to sling it, especially for art supplies. And that's about it for Zip Buddy. I hope you enjoy the sew along. Please remember to share in my group, which is the Sophisticated Craft Design, and any unique make using sophisticated pattern, you stands 1 to 5 times chance to win the gift cards, which will be held on every bi-monthly. Hope you enjoy the sew along. Thank you and see you next time. Bye.